Hi, good evening. My name is Krystal Steward. I am a doctoral student at Regent University, and I wanted to come on here and just to touch base with you guys a little bit about coaching versus therapy. A lot of times we hear, I know I hear from clients, well, what's the difference between therapy? What's the difference between coaching? How do I know what is best for me? How can I identify if I should be speaking to a therapist or if I should be speaking to a coach? Um, the surface of that answer for me is they are both excellent. Um, it's important to identify within yourself where you are in your life journey. Um, if you are considering therapy or life coaching, it's important to kind of understand where you are in life. Those are one of the things that I find, sorry about that, one of the things I find to be very, very important. I have a slide. I'm not going to present it here for the sake of recording, but I did want to go over a few things in hopes that you guys can go back and reference it. So a few bullet points that I did put up is the difference between life coaching and therapy. Life coaching is future oriented, it is goal driven, client centered. It focuses on personal and professional development. That's why many times, like my company, which is Raw Therapy, we offer life coaching and career coaching and financial coaching because sometimes we have clients that come to us and say, well, I'm okay with life. Everything's good in that area, but I would rather have some information or some coaching on career. What do I do? Where do I go? How do I plan for the future? Things of that nature. And when those questions arise, a coach is suitable, or I should say more suitable, to kind of walk alongside their client in that journey. Um, Therapy is past focus, more so focused on problem solving and healing. Clinically trained therapists are the ones who perform this therapy. Their focus is on mental health and healing. And that does not mean that coaches are not concerned about mental health or are not an advocate for mental wellness, because we are. However, we are not licensed therapists. So it is important for a coach to recognize the signs of mental health challenges and know when to refer out, know when to have that client reach out or, you know, explain to that client this is beyond the scope of coaching. And it's important to know when it's time to refer that client to a therapist. Doesn't mean that they can't have both. I've had clients in the past who have had both therapists and coaches, and both of them in their own right participate or contribute to the well-being of that client. So I did want to discuss a little bit about the GROW model, GROW, and just explain what that means and how coaches use that model when it comes to our clients. I, in particular, have used it on many clients, and we're just going to go over it. It is an acronym, and I just wanted to go back a little bit with raw therapy. I mentioned it earlier. Raw therapy, although it is labeled as raw therapy, it is a life coaching business. It is a virtual life coaching business. RAW is an acronym and it stands for Restoration, Accountability, and Willingness. We take a stand that anyone and everyone can be restored. It takes accountability on the person who is walking that journey's part. Um, And then there has to be a certain amount of willingness to set goals for yourself, realistic goals, tangible goals. It's important for both the client and the coach to realize that goal setting is just that, right? Goals, what we plan to reach, what we plan to obtain, and encourage the client to do so. In my particular walk as a coach and experience, I have learned that sometimes a client will be kind of hard on themselves if they have not reached the goal in the time frame that they have set for themselves. This is where I absolutely fall in love with coaching, because it's just that, coaching them to get back up again, encouraging them that it's okay if you fall, try again. It is okay. It's okay to fail here. It's okay to pause here. This is what a coach does, right? I always give the visual of, imagine a basketball game or your favorite sport for that matter. And it is the coach's job to see what that star player cannot see. It is the coach's job to pull his or her team in and say, listen, you got the talent. You have what it takes. But you're focused on this goal, and I need you to look at your right. I need you to look at your left. You have someone coming here and someone coming there. Just what it is, coaching. So I just wanted to go back to what the GROW model is. G is in girl, R is in Robert, O is in Oscar, W is in Walter, the GROW. So G is goal setting. Setting a clear goal. It doesn't have to be multiple goals at once. It can be one at a time. A couple of my clients who have challenges with ADHD, tasks or goals can be very challenging for them. So we take it one step at a time. Something so small as perhaps washing the dishes can be so big for someone who has challenges with ADHD. And just the completion of that goal is a huge victory for them. And we celebrate it. We do not, there are no small wins here. We absolutely celebrate it, because it was something that and take the example of dishes, when dishes have been sitting in the sink for a week and that person has been depressed over it or sad over it or embarrassed or ashamed, and they finally have went to their journal, looked over their techniques, and one by one finished all of the dishes in the sink. It is a phenomenal victory, and we celebrate it as such. So G is for goal setting. Defining a clear, achievable goal. And like I said, the example that I use, something as small as washing the dishes, could be very big to someone. R, you know, the reality check and evaluating the current situation and resources. So when we set a goal, that's what the G is for, and then the R is for the reality. How realistic is it for us to obtain this goal? For example, I've also had clients that set the goal and say, listen, I want to be a millionaire. That is the goal. Okay, reality, what are we doing to achieve that goal? We can't be jobless, or we can't, you gotta have some type of resources available for you to achieve that. Maybe it's a out of this world invention or entrepreneur idea. Something has to be the reality check to achieve that goal. So O, what are the options? O stands for options. And all that means is exploring various strategies and solutions. What does that mean? How can I achieve this goal? So some of my options, okay, I want to be a millionaire. Well, I know that there are a few groups on Facebook and networking groups on Instagram that I can become a part of. That's a resource and it's free. It doesn't cost anything. There's no membership fees. And they're teaching people, and I'm reading the testimonies, and the testimonials are saying that these people have become millionaires within, you know, 1 to 2 years. Yeah, this is a big drastic reach, but for the sake of the video, it is a goal for some people, right? And this is what coaching is about, identifying a clear goal for yourself, whatever that may be. If it's life coaching, if it's career, if it's business, there are plenty of times where I have coached businesses on how to get out of debt if they're in the red. What is a clear goal? What is the reality check of that, and how can we move forward? And what are the options? Um, so that is what the O stands for, the options. Our W is willingness, determining commitment and readiness to take action. We can all say, I want this, I want that, I have these resources available, but are we willing? No one can force us to do anything. A therapist can't, nor a coach. We are not people who can force anything on anyone. And I don't think anyone for that matter, whether you're a coach, a therapist, a regular person, a business person, HR director, whatever that means, you can't force anyone to do anything. There has to be a willingness in that person. It has to be a willingness to want to achieve the goal, because then you'll always remain teachable. You'll always remain in a space where someone can impart into you, and it goes back to that old saying, right? You can lead the horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And that's the truth. We can give you all these different things of why you should do this and why you should do that, and all these goals that you've set, and we're cheering you on. This is absolutely phenomenal. But there has to be a willingness on the client's part, right? Okay. So now that we've gone over that, I know it can be pretty heavy to digest because some people still are still saying, okay, well, I can set goals when it comes to my therapist. And absolutely you can. But therapists they do not tend to focus on that, because most of the time in traditional therapy, people come because they're looking to heal. They're looking to uncover past wounds and past hurts. They are looking to, in particular, sometimes be diagnosed because they are in the unknown. They know that they feel a certain way, but they don't know exactly why. So it's very, very different. Some of the techniques, I want to go over a few techniques or I should say, a few techniques that are used in life coaching. One is powerful questioning. As a coach, we ask open-ended and thought-provoking questions. And the reason for that is to promote self-discovery. As a coach, we want you to discover what's inside, right? And sometimes it only takes just a little bit of coaching, just a little bit of nudging, a little bit of coming alongside you in that journey, right? And that's what we want. We ask the questions not because we know the answer, because we don't, but we ask these questions to provoke or to ignite something within you for self-discovery. It is something very empowering about when you can discover something about yourself that you didn't know was there before. It gives someone the sense of ownership over their feelings and their thoughts. And sometimes when someone has been lost or emotionally, I want to say just emotional, like an emotional disconnect, when you are able to put those pieces together or help that person put those pieces together for themselves, it ignites a sense of empowerment within that person. And that is awesome. I also want to list that another technique that we use, and coaches and therapists use this, is active listening. No one wants to sit across from anyone and feel like, okay, this person is not listening. One of the jokes that my clients, because my clients, like I mentioned, have been in therapy. Some of them are still in therapy. Um, some of them mentioned that when I'm in the therapy session and I'm on this comfy couch, all I see is the therapist doodling. I don't know if they're writing notes or they're drawing pictures, which indicates, it's a funny way we laugh at it, but which indicates that that client did not feel as if the therapist was actively listening. One of the things about coaching is that it's important to build rapport with your client, and in building rapport you're building trust, and there's an energy about you. Just coaching in general, right? When you think of coach, you think of that person yelling, go, go, you can do it, right? Just how your brain just thinks of what a coach is. And yes, in a professional setting we can't necessarily hold up and say, give me an A. But we do, in a professional way, coach you that way. We are one of your biggest fans. We want to see you succeed. And most importantly, we want to see you reach your goal, because you reaching your goal and you getting to a point of self-discovery illustrates to us that, wow, okay, we are doing our job. I am serving you well as your coach. I am seeing you jump over those hurdles. Um, so that's what we try to do, is provide active and attentive listening. We attempt to understand your perspective and not to change it or manipulate it. That is not the purpose of a coach. The purpose of a coach is to understand your perspective of things. One of the things we learn in crisis counseling and crisis work, if you will, which I am not a fan of, but I've done it. I've done this, that, this, and that. Is that when you have someone who is wanting to commit suicide, or let's say they're just really, really frustrated, it's important for you not to change that narrative, not to say, well, I don't see why you should be frustrated. I don't really see why you are wanting to jump off the bridge. That is an no, abort mission. Something we never say. We want to validate those feelings. We want to understand. And one of the things we're trained to say and trained to do is to say, I can understand, or or we're saying, I see that you feel frustrated. I hear the frustration. I hear the anger. Because like, that's where we walk really closely as coaches and mental health care providers. We want to understand that person's perspective, because if we can understand it and prove to them, or at least demonstrate to them that we understand it, then there's a trust that comes over them, and then they want to give us more. And giving us more, the more you give us, the more I can help, the more I can coach, the more we can brainstorm on goals and things of that nature. Um, so I'm going to give one more, and then we'll have a follow-up round two to different techniques when it comes to coaching. So one of the other things that we do is we use visualization. And I used it earlier in the conversation when I asked you guys to imagine a basketball game, and imagine that coach that's saying, huddle in, guys. Listen, I know that you have this. I know that you're a fast this and you're this, but I need you to look at this. I need you to see what you're not seeing. I need you to, because the coach is looking at the game from outside the entire game. Whereas the players that are inside the game, their perspective is inside. And one of the things as a coach, which I personally love is that people allow me to look at their game of life, their game of circumstance. They welcome me in to be that coach, to look at the entire picture. And it is an honor as a coach to be welcomed into the most delicate and intimate places of people's lives, of people's businesses, because although it's business, I'm speaking to the owners and entrepreneurs and creators of this business. And these businesses are equivalent to that of someone's child. It's their baby. It's something that they gave birth to. So it's very close to them. It's an honor to be associated with that and welcomed into a piece of that, to be able to look at that, analyze it, give some feedback, and walk alongside them when it comes to goal setting. I hope this was helpful. I look forward to part two of the different techniques that we use in coaching, and just a little bit of feedback. If there are some things you want to leave in the comments that we can discuss later. But it was an absolute pleasure speaking with you guys, and I look forward to speaking with you more. Have a great night.